All right, everyone, thank you for coming. Second general body meeting. Last week we had 30 people come in person and I'm echoing, and like 11 or 12 people come on Zoom. So that's awesome. We had a huge turnout. I see we have a packed house tonight. And so thank you all for coming. If you guys want to watch this video later, we are recording it and we're going to put it on our YouTube channel. So Turning Point USA at UF, you can show your family, show your friends, all of this will be recorded. So with that, thank you for coming. And I'm going to turn this over to Zach Newman, my friend. Zach created a really cool website. He'll explain it more, but I think it's really impressive and it goes along with this political club. So with that, here's.
Thanks, Carter. Hey everyone, I'm Zach. I'm the senior here. I started a company called Political Divides with my friend who goes to Rollins College down in Orlando. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it here today. But so the reason why we started this company is that over the last few years, in our own experiences, we've noticed like so many times where we try to have an intellectual conversation with someone that has different ideas than us, and they just don't listen to us. And they try to argue using the facts that they heard in the news that their parents told them, and they don't like to hear the other side, and it hurts them on the inside to hear facts that are different than their own ideology set. And so we kind of wanted to create a solution to this. We wanted to eliminate this problem. Before I go into what we do, I'm going to kind of scope out the problem on the wide scale basis here happening in America today. So you see here, this is a distribution of 10 values given to people in 1994 by Pew Research Center on like 10 key political issues at the time. And you see that the median Democrat and the median Republican are not too far from each other, pretty close. Fast forward to 2017, it says 2017, trust me. Fast forward to 2017 and it has gotten a lot worse. And this goes to show that the American people are more ideologically divided than ever. And that is causing problems in not only Congress, but in our everyday conversations with people that have a little bit different ideas than us. And I don't like that. And one of the things that's fueling this divide is the media. This is also a research conducted by Pew Research Center. And on the top, you can see the percentage of who trust each source for political and election news. So on the left side, in the liberal category, the vast majority of people there trust those networks, as opposed to on the conservative side, only one news network is overwhelmingly trusted, and that's Fox News. And that goes to show that there's a growing part of the Republican Party, specifically conservatives, that are becoming distrustful of the media, and probably with good reason. And on the bottom, it's the antithesis. It's the percentage who distrust each source for political and election news. And these networks on the left side are usually that fall on the left side of the spectrum. They usually report in a biased way, leaning left, and then on the right, it's the networks that usually, that's the right, that they report on the left. And people are becoming more distrustful of news sources that they don't agree with. So a source that we usually use to that has kind of guided our journey on this website is All Sides Media Bias Chart. It graphs like where networks fall on a spectrum from left to right. And at first glance, are there any networks out there that you guys think either are out of place or surprising?
The Young Turks.
Yeah, say that again?
The Young Turks.
The Young Turks? What do you think that should be?
What?
What do you think it should be?
Like on that scale?
Yeah.
I would definitely say it should definitely be on the blue.
Okay. Yeah, so these are, they update this like on a yearly basis, and quite often more than that. And it's always constantly shifting, but there's been a trend that everything's kind of moving left. So one of the things that we created in our site was a partisan tracker that shows where how media networks report on the same issues happening in America. So we kind of compiled our pick of the 5 hottest topics dividing the electorate today. And that was the state of the economy, Black Lives Matter protests, Trump versus Biden, police reform, and Trump's COVID-19 response. And so we thought that these were probably the most pressing, and but we're hoping to update these, every 2 months whenever the political agenda kind of shifts. So what exactly this is that we show 4 networks on the left, on the liberal leaning outlets, and 4 conservative leaning outlets, and we show 5 articles that they wrote, hoping to be daily soon. And the reason why we do this is that we want people to see how each network reports differently on the same issue. And by displaying the same, sorry, I can't speak right now. By showing articles from different networks, we kind of hope to give people a well-rounded picture of what's actually going on, instead of them hearing stuff from one source. People are spoon-fed, and they continue to read the same things they agree with, and which kind of creates the cycle of polarization. We also give opportunity to people to use our forum to debate these issues, and we have a poll at the bottom where people can, voice what they think the answer to the question is. So I'm gonna do a little game for a political divides giveaway. I foolishly left them in the back, so I'll give them to you after this. But based on the major networks, who do you think published this headline? This is a few days ago, and why? Anyone want to give a stab at it?
Fox News, right?
And why do you think that?
Because it's from Newt Gingrich, and he was a former Republican Speaker in the House, they're a right-wing outlet, and that probably was more one of the tabloid ones, because it's a bit clickbaity, maybe like the New York Post.
Yeah, you're right. You were right with Fox News. I'll give you that one. So yeah, they're subtly pushing their agenda by the way they phrase it, and the way they kind of say something through someone else. They tend to do that a lot. We'll do one more. Trump will stop interfering in the election. That's literally a headline. I'll give someone else a chance here. Right there.
CNN.
You would be correct with that one. Why?
Typically CNN puts out headlines that are subtly anti-Trump, but not full blown.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So they kind of, it wasn't even in the opinion section. That was or was it? No, I don't think it was. It was not even the opinion section. It was straight up. And I went, where's that picture? I actually have an old, I put a picture in here. I was at Crunch Fitness yesterday, and on the TVs, it said, the US is nearing 200,000 deaths as Donald Trump touts A+ record in his coronavirus response. Just by wording it that way, they're trying to push their agenda, and a lot of people don't even pick up on that, and they kind of agree with it because it's the media, and it's a source superior to themselves feeding them information, and that's part of the problem. Another thing we offer on the site is called a bipartisan tracker, and we just kind of update the site whenever a new bill is passed through Congress. We show the timeline of the bill, how the House and the Senate has voted, the percentages, and then we have a question to see if people approve or disapprove of the passing of it. We also have the forum I was talking about before, where we hope that people engage in healthy discussion about issues and don't attack people on personal issues, but instead on their beliefs. So we're like I said, we're a student startup. We started up 3 weeks ago, and we're only hoping to get better. This is just the beginning. We just scratched the surface. And some things we're trying to add to the site are a tracker of how political parties have changed over time, kind of an interactive tool that people can see how it's shifted over the years, a tracker of how media networks have changed over time, a bias test. Harvard offers an implicit bias test, so we kind of want our own form of that. A news network games where people can, pick out like the headline thing I gave you, something like that, but on the site, and make it a little bit more clean and fun. A database of current political issues over time. We want to show people what the top 5-10 issues were in each year in the last 100, 200 years, and a database of how each congressman has voted on legislation. So we're just getting off the ground, and if we're actually looking for people to help out with us. We can't pay you guys because obviously I'm a broke college kid, so is my partner. But we can offer college credit because we are an S Corp. So if you're interested, feel free to email me at zach@politicaldivides.com or text me at that number there. And yeah, thank you very much. And I'll get you small, large, or medium.
Medium, please.
All right, awesome job, Zach. Your website is really impressive. Good job. So it's politicaldivides.com. Definitely check it out when you get home. Yeah. All righty. So let's get to it. So the topic of today's meeting is going to be Free the First. So all about the First Amendment. So what is the First Amendment? Can someone raise their hand? Matt, what's the First Amendment? Mm-hmm. And the press? Uh-huh. Nice. There you go. Ding, 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 ding. All right, so we're gonna watch a really good video by Will Witt. Have any of you guys seen him before? Ben, Nico, see you.
Do you like being able to speak your mind freely or practice whatever religion you want? People in America take these rights for granted, but these rights only exist because of the First Amendment in the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. America is the most free and most prosperous country in the world. Well, why is America different, and why should we preserve these values? Let's take a look. 1. The First Amendment protects the free exercise of religion. If you are a Muslim, a Christian, an atheist, you can freely practice your beliefs in America. The founders did not believe that religion should be divorced from politics, but they prohibited the government from establishing a national church. You see, liberty can only be kept if Americans remain good and moral people, and the Constitution promotes the free exercise of religion, it doesn't eliminate religion. 2. Freedom of speech is one of the most important rights in our Constitution. It allows Americans to speak their opinions without fear of punishment or regulation. This means the First Amendment not only protects speech that is widely accepted, it also protects speech that isn't popular. In fact, freedom of speech would be meaningless if it only protected speech that we all liked. 3. I'm sure you've heard all about fake news in the media recently, but what if that fake news was coming directly from your government? This is why we have a free and independent press. The press searches for truth and promotes virtue and unity. The press is also a check on the government and helps to advance American values. 4. The First Amendment also protects the right for people to gather peacefully. It guarantees the right for citizens to petition the government to protest or give an opinion on an issue. So all these people you see marching in the streets with picket signs for God knows what are only able to do so because of the First Amendment. America is a country where citizens can practice their faith and speak and gather freely without government intervention. These freedoms, guaranteed under the First Amendment, are critical, and we must preserve them at any cost. I'm Will Witt. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see us continue to make videos on every amendment in the Bill of Rights and answer other civics questions, please consider making a tax-deductible donation of Great Region today.
All right. So pretty awesome that we live in a country that guarantees the First Amendment right to speak. What's up, guys? All right. So pretty awesome. That right covers all Americans. Doesn't matter your race, your religion, your sexual orientation. So pretty cool being an American. Okay, so what does each part of the First Amendment mean? Let's break it down, SpongeBob style. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. So that means I can't do that because of my religion, but the First Amendment doesn't mean that you can say you cannot do that because of my religion. First thing that comes to my mind is the Colorado the cake shop owner about 2 years ago. Really religious man. Just a religious man. He didn't want to make a cake for a gay couple, and they could have went across the street, but they decided to bring this guy to court. Colorado court said they have to. Supreme Court said you don't have to. So once again, things that are okay. I can't do that because of my religion, but you can't say you can't do that because of my religion. So, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Conform to the King's Rebellion or leave. Coherence said K bye. See ya. Losers. Or abridging the freedom of speech. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words are triggering and require federal regulation. Raise your hand if you agree with that.
I mean, you can't scream fire.
I'm gonna get to that. So that's stupid snowflake material right there. Don't be like that. Okay, so, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble. So this is a really funny quote. Chris Cuomo said, "Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be peaceful." What an idiot. Say, peacefully assemble on the First Amendment. Isn't that crazy? Why would he say that?
I double checked it myself.
One of a kind. All right, and to petition the government of redresses. Hold up. So when I closed that meeting because they were like trolling us, I'm just gonna make it so they can see our camera real quick. There we go. There we go. It's awesome. So they're able to see all of you. This is what they're seeing right now.
Antifa, you're watching this right now?
Antifa doesn't support
There's no
Biden.
one.
They don't.
Who?
They support Bernie, but like, they don't, like if you go to a Black Lives Matter protest, they're saying they're not gonna vote for Biden.
Matt.
'Cause
Really?
he's a corporate sellout, everyone knows that. He's a senator from
That's how I
MBNA.
just marked down.
He's a senator from what?
He's the
Why
senator
isn't
from
it working?
MBNA, from the credit card companies in Delaware.
Oh.
Like Delaware's dirty money, and everyone knows that. He has this folksy persona, but you know, the most powerful thing Trump ever said was Biden takes money from the American working class and then sells them out to Wall Street. The next day, he kisses their babies and then ships their jobs to China. That was powerful. This communist Biden thing doesn't work. People don't believe that.
It's not working. Damn.
We can't see it.
Yeah, screwed yourself. All right, whatever. So, yeah, that is up. Okay, so
It's like slipping in.
there's a free speech song.
They can't. Oh, can they see that on the screen?
Sound.
Then I saw just down the way, my 45 Joe McKay was putting up some campaign signs himself. When I looked up at that wall and patiently just read them all, asked, what do you have to say for yourself? It's called free speech. It's called free speech. Something the Constitution guarantees. Some folks might be
And I messed up our,
but we all have
it's not gonna be recorded.
if we truly want this country to be free.
Like recorded up to the point where I am.
Fast forward now a bunch of years, I'm driving cars and shipping goods. I stopped
The
short,
girl
I
who
had to
came in
slam
here
my
to
brakes.
that, like connected.
I drive in the car
The girl
behind me.
who came in here to fix that, did she connect it?
Connect what?
This to the video?
Suddenly I'm presented with liquor from
Yeah, it was working, but then when I stopped it, it's not working now.
Telltales out of school. But ain't no pinky, ain't no thumb. He stuck up that old middle one. I thought, just how could someone be so cruel? It's called free speech. It's called free speech. Something the Constitution guarantees. I have the right to speak up, sir, which is why I'm pointing upwards, and I truly want this country to be free. You can
Oh, it is going, I think.
run talking about abortion, or your swift nobody's kind of want to speak. You can even donate money to a candidate, exercise your political speech. Like if you run for president, you have a secret love child and you want to hide it with some cashew. It's called free speech. It's called free speech.
All right, so now you know what free speech is. All right,
I think like half of those manners of speech are illegal though. Like one of those was libel probably.
Yeah, so we're gonna get to what exactly is covered in free speech. We don't have enough time for that. So just how important was the First Amendment to our founding fathers? Yeah. So yeah, like Raquel just said, it was number one. And what came right after it? Yeah, so it shows how much the founding fathers prioritized freedom of speech. I mean, they came over because they were getting persecuted by in England, that they weren't able to practice the religion that they wanted. So that was very important to them. They could say what they want and believe what they want. And then right after that is the Second Amendment, because the second backs the first, or backs all 27 actually. Yeah, because guns are convincing. So what is not protected under the First Amendment? Obscenity, fighting words, defamation, which include libel and slander, child pornography, perjury. Have any of you seen that movie?
No.
No.
You're not missing much. It was terrible.
Well, you watched it? Wow.
I made them
Why?
because I needed to be educated on it.
But why didn't you watch it?
How do you formulate an opinion about a movie if you haven't watched it?
You don't watch
Yes,
softcore
Simon.
child porn.
Well, at the same time.
Stop coaching.
Well, I was covering my eyes.
Young girls who dress up in stripper costumes.
Yeah, they take the worst clip from the movie and that's what they posted.
Yeah.
I'm not supporting it in any way.
Yeah, the movie wasn't even
I
that good.
completely condone it, but if you're gonna formulate an opinion,
I think you used the wrong word. Condone would mean you girls.
I don't
Condemn.
condemn it, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Abby, what the
Freudian slip there, Abby.
Freudian slip.
Miss Epstein over there.
Oh, okay, all right.
Oh, my.
You out
Oh my God.
Wow.
Do you know what your cancer is?
Okay, so incitement to imminent lawless action, true threats, and solicitations to commit crimes. So, how many of you heard? Well, can you shout fire in a crowded theater?
No.
No. So most people think no, right? And I thought that too, but earlier today, Abby, she said actually you can, because I saw the Steven Crowder video and he said you can. So I was like, Abby, you're lying.
No, like, you call me out.
And it turns out she was right. So in U.S. versus Schenck in 1919, that case had nothing to do with fires or theaters or false statements. It was the court deciding whether Charles Schenck, Secretary of the Socialist Shabbat Shalom, Secretary of the Socialist Party of America, could be convicted under the Espionage Act during and distributing the pamphlet that expressed his opposition to the draft during World War I. The ACLU said it did not call for violence, it did not even call for civil disobedience. So in 1969, Bradenburg versus Ohio basically overturned this law. And they said that inflammatory speech, even speech advocating violence by members of the KKK, is protected under the First Amendment unless the speech is, this is the most important part, is directed to inciting or producing imminent, which means immediate, lawless action, and is likely to incite or produce such action. So it needs both parts.
Kill Carter Murmur with your car.
But is that likely to produce such action? I hope not. What's that? I mean, that makes sense to me, but in 1969, they found that, I think lawless, they mean lawless by like violent, or, yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, it was, so he was distributing a pamphlet, he was a socialist, and he was opposing World War I, the draft during World War I. But in 1969, they said that they basically overturned it because it has to incite imminent lawless action. So yeah, I agree with you. That is lawless action. So I'm gonna look into that more. That's a really good point. But when I did my research, it was overturned. So, all right. So who's heard of Antifa? these fun people. Yeah. So they stand for anti-fascist, which is really funny. And they're anti-capitalism, anti-authoritarianism, anti-state, Marxist, anarchist, and socialist. So do we like Antifa in here? Give me a thumbs up, a big smile if you love Antifa. Boy. So what do you guys think about Antifa? What have you guys heard about them? How do you feel about them? Are they good? Are they bad?
They're not a real group. They're just people who, there's no like cohesive Antifa.
So it's decentralized?
Yeah,
Do you think it's an organization or ideology?
it's an ideology.
So the FBI director 5 days ago said that it is not an ideology. I mean, it's not an organization, it's an ideology, which he was kind of going against what Trump wanted to do. There's a resolution right now in Congress. They're trying to designate them domestic terrorists. So, well,
One of the things that, so I am a conservative activist, so AFD, they have the same thing. And this is what they do. They have a left. They're on both sides. People organizing. I've literally looked at
Antifa trainings? Wow. Did you attend?
no, I'm going through them.
That sounds fun.
They have social media pages. Facebook,
They're
Instagram,
real, I
Twitter.
mean, they're full-time founders.
So Antifa is not known for being, how should I say, reasonable. So you can see here they're like, you just look at the picture. They have like weapons and everything. I agree. So it's mostly peaceful.
Training organizations, sorry, training organizations do these things. They have all of their training, so you can't honestly, there's no record of your name, post it anywhere, any pictures. That way, the organizers of these are just everyday normal people. So, it would really be cool if you can manage
But like the important thing that would mark them as different from organizations, they have no control over the people they train. They're not giving them orders. They're just telling them how to commit actions. But us just directing them.
I mean, I don't know if this is true. It's just what I've heard by word of mouth. I thought they were given actions like for $3,000 if you literally like go, I don't know, break into a store or something, like just literally destroy something, you would get your check. And like, I don't know how.
I would love to do some like research. Research.
I need to see a solid source on that. Communists don't tend to have a lot of money, from what I know.
So I think all of us. What's up?
Aren't all other options protected under the Constitution?
So yeah. So I don't think as conservatives we're more tolerant than the left. We don't shout down people. We don't stifle free speech. We are like intellectually curious. We want to hear what the other side likes to say, because that's in the marketplace of ideas. You listen to the other side, you hear them out, but like you can like maybe come to in the middle or come up with new solutions. You have to be willing to hear the other person out. The left is not like that. I'm sure you've all seen examples of that. And Antifa is not known, so they use like nonviolent protests, but they also very often use violent direct action, which is not protected under the First Amendment. So, like, I don't have a problem. I might think it's stupid what they stand for, but I think that they have a right to say it. What they don't have a right to do is be violent and destroy property and burn businesses down and hurt the cops and shoot people and jump old people. These are all things that we've seen in the past couple months. They don't have a right to do that. That's not the First Amendment. So, Tucker Carlson owns Soy Boy Antifa.
Oh my God.
Well, I have homeowners. If you'd like to erase your electric bill at no cost.
This video is hilarious. Have any of you guys seen this?
Guy.
If you have a barbecue like this inside your house, you can qualify. America is playing with respect to
Tucker's
facts
very
and
funny.
violence, and it has twisted facts. That's just calling themselves anti-fascist Antifa.
Whenever conservatives want to speak on campus or hold a rally, Antifa groups are a reliable presence, and they routinely try to stamp out speech using vigilante violence, which they perversely justify as a form of self-defense. Like Isaacson is a professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. He founded the Antifa group Smash Racism DC in 1853. Professor, thanks for coming on. Thank you for having me. So your position, tell me if I'm mischaracterizing this, is people you define as fascists do not have free speech rights.
No, my position is that communities have the right to defend themselves against groups that actively seek to eliminate members of them.
To defend themselves against violence or defend themselves against
violence? I mean, we were talking about
physical violence. So
yes,
I say, for
we're
example,
talking about history, a group that has a history of
no, we're
suddenly in this ahistorical world where we're not doing groups, where we like age doesn't exist, where underrated doesn't exist. Are you kidding me?
No, are you a professor? So here's the question though. Is it past statements that have espoused violence, or is it acts of violence? So could you, we're talking about, hold on, let me check this out. Could you commit violence against me if you thought that I had a history of saying things that you imagined were violent?
I would never commit violence against you. Actually, when I was younger, I was a libertarian, and I actually looked up to you when you were a libertarian.
Let's take me
Oh man.
history of Jewish Chicago. So the idea is if I'm hitting you or I strike you physically, by physically commit violence against you, have a right to commit violence back in order to protect yourself or your property. But you're seeming to say that anybody who has espoused ideas that have at some point in history led to violence can be the subject of violence you need. But you're not saying that.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I believe it's the right for communities to get together to assess what is a threat to them and defend themselves against that threat.
So give an example, like what public figure in America right now could be shut down, could have his free speech rights taken away, and could be the subject of violence under the standards you're describing?
Well, I mean, for instance, I think that the framework here of talking about violence as opposed to talking about preserving the very freedoms that you and I both enjoy is a false one. I mean, ultimately, we're talking about a movement that actively advocates against all the fetters of democracy. I mean, we're talking about Richard Spencer, who publishes on altright.com, publishes an article on July 28th by a man named Vincent Law, where the headline was, "To protect free speech, get rid of democracy."
Okay, so let's use that example. I disagree with that. I haven't seen the piece, but it doesn't sound like something I agree with. Does Richard Spencer have a right to speak in public?
Richard Spencer is a danger to society. When he speaks in public, what he is doing, he is publicly recruiting people to his very violent movement, very violent.
So does he have a right to speak in public?
I don't think he has a right to speak in public unopposed, and that's ultimately what the purpose of ANTIFA is to show us and oppose him.
But it's not opposition. You shut people down, you prevent them from speaking, and you commit violence against them. I know a number of people, don't tell me it's untrue, people have been knocked down and beaten by people from Antifa. So that is true. It does happen. We have it on tape. We wrong tape. Okay. So you're saying, is that justified?
Yes. I believe that communities have the right to defend themselves against threats to their community.
Against ideas they don't like.
No, they have a right against people who have explicitly said that they want to eliminate those people from our society.
But you're conflating violence with ideas.
No,
if I have not raised my hand to strike you, you have no right to strike me.
But you never raise your hand to strike me, you have to think that you're going to strike me. And when you are going out in public as a protester, explicitly saying that you want to eliminate most of the people from this country,
Love the discussion.
I believe most of the people in this country have the right to say, no, that's not okay.
Okay, but you absolutely have a right to say it's not okay. What you don't have a right is to prevent me from saying what I think, even if you disagree, and you definitely don't have a right to commit violence against me. And you're blurring the lines there. By the way, don't you want that criminal?
I love when Sucker laughs.
You have the right to make a counter case. Do you see this?
I counted 5 security guards at the front door and 2 police cars outside. Are you going to tell me that the violence that they would enact
against someone who's looking to do you or any number of the people that work for you harm, are you going to tell me that the violence that they enact to protect preemptively the staff that are protected also by the barricades that you have? I don't even know what you're saying. Honestly, I'm not following you. Well, actually, don't have security, but there is security. There's security in your building. There's security in lots of buildings. There's security in your building. The reason that you have security is because ultimately that security provides a space for nonviolent civil discourse. Because ultimately, we don't. So that there are lots of million stations here, but you don't know the public square. You don't know the security. The public owns the public square, and the end of the day, you're in charge of the public, and you're not in charge of deciding. We're talking about a system that is gerrymandering people out of public representation. Okay, if we're relying on the cops, ultimately the cops are working for the very people that we work for, and not in the interest of the vast majority of society. We don't have representation. We don't have representation by the state. We don't. Okay, let's go to the last question. Do you teach students? And do you teach them that the First Amendment does not apply to people they disagree with? I teach them to think critically, and that's why I'm very open about my intellectualism and my anarchism. So someone in your class said, you know what, I'm a Trump voter, I'm against affirmative action. I have those, and I encourage them to research and explore and hold them to the exact same standards that I hold any of them. Yeah, I bet. I do. Yeah, I had an alt-right supporter actually in my class last semester. I worked with him on his papers. He started off behind bad at citation. I got him better at citation, and he wrote a paper that was an APS paper. I mean, I am not discriminating against my students. Yeah, except you think that people this year should be beaten up, but whatever. All right, Congressman.
Oh man.
The only way to ensure.
Oh man, how do you get out of here?
American great is to.
We're nonpartisan, I swear.
I mean, that same conversation could have happened like in the Weimar Republic, like because the Nazis didn't commit acts of violence until they took power. Like what we launched was
Johnny. Okay. So Johanny's going to run the discussion. We have 3 questions here. We're going to try to keep it short so we can get a Kahoot game going after this. So let's do it for like 5-7 minutes. So there you go.
Alrighty, so as we see here, who wants to answer this? Why is it important to defend the First Amendment? True. The Second Amendment protects the First. All right, anyone else? Exactly. All right. Right. Yep. Our First Amendment is with democracy, right? All right. So basically, our free speech is given to us by the First Amendment, where we can share our thoughts and our speeches and opinions and create a democracy. All right, do you guys think it's under attack right now in this climate? Yeah? How so?
I feel like people are like thinking hate speech is something that you can be jailed for, and like that's so scary because I don't want to be jailed for saying something like pronouncing you. I don't want to be jailed for that.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
That's kind of lame, man.
Right.
cancel culture is really toxic. I mean, just people deciding that they can destroy someone's reputation and their place of work and their economic security because they don't like them or one of their ideas is really, really toxic to like our society.
Right.
Like people are afraid to speak out on what they believe, and we can't have a discourse that way.
Right. All right. Anyone else? In that question?
Social media is becoming more and more important for public square, and it seems as though the rules are getting more and more restrictive, especially towards regulating.
Right.
I think.
New fallout after a bloody weekend of gun violence in America's cities. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp calling in the National Guard after 31 people were shot in Atlanta and a little girl was killed.
Okay.
What were you saying?
Oh, I think a religion is under attack by the left a lot, and it's trying to be canceled. Like you're trying to take God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, and I feel like
Twice.
that's
Yeah.
pretty screwed up. So yeah, that's something else.
Yeah, also going off of that, with like the pandemic, they like shut down churches, and like I think that's such a big thing to do. And you can't say something more important than church. Like
Not
that's
even just that, city of New York is shutting down any type of gathering that's not Black Lives Matter related.
Right.
They're allowing, specifically, they're allowing Black Lives Matter ones?
Yeah, I don't know where this Big Blacks did since then, but like there was a funeral service at a synagogue that they shut down, but when Black Lives Matter came out, the police were told essentially to stand down. They're not making up anything that is involved with Black Lives Matter.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. And then moving on to the last question, which we kind of covered a little bit. Like, should Antifa be designated as a domestic terrorist organization? But it's said as an ideology and not like an actual organization. But Browning said that it might, right? That Antifa is an organization.
Well, it may not be an organization, but it definitely has organized people.
Right.
in charge. So
Okay.
there are people who are trained to do that. Yeah, there's definitely strands of Antifa that are pretty organized and ideologically they differ. So like the Blue Boys
Mm-hmm.
is one terrorist group which has some far-right factions, but also has people that identify with Antifa. They should be designated terrorists.
Okay. With
Right-wing terrorist
Yeah.
organizations or terrorists,
exactly.
they know the organization.
With it being sprawled out and like strings, as we mentioned, how do you think that would be combated? How do you think it should be targeted as a terrorist organization? Kevin?
Well, I personally don't think sedition is effective by the First Amendment, and a lot of people of this sort of mindset are open about the sedition they preach against, America. I think it is pretty easy to like go after Antifa type people. No matter the willingness of local authorities to actually arrest people for advocating the overthrow of the republic.
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
Should it be illegal to be an anarchist in this country?
It used to be illegal, yeah.
It used to be illegal to be an anarchist.
I don't know what happened.
Do you have anything more to say, Kevin? I know you're really smart.
Yeah.
Do you think
No, I don't.
Antifa?
I'm not really stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that like during certain times the state has less interest in stopping sedition, and I think that in those times of war, during the Cold War, we had cells in America that were active arms of the Soviet Union operating in America. The state does have less interest in investigating those organizations and arresting the organizers of those organizations. They are effectively terrorists.
Do we want to give the federal government that power over American citizens? That was my question.
Mm.
What happens when it's the other party in control of that? What happens when they're designating our people as terrorists? I don't think we want to allow that to happen. I don't want to give the government that power.
You
even
think
if
it's
it
just a
causes
foot
them
in the
risk.
door? Right.
I don't know. So all that other, I don't want to keep talking unless you actually want to.
You can
Yeah,
you make it short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the idea of like, giving the government too much power to what happens to the other side of power, because generally speaking, like you have a military and police for a reason. I think that like we have those organizations because they're number one, neutral arbiters, and two, but also defense against incursions from the outside, like a Soviet-funded group like the early Communist Party of America during the 1950s that like had actual communication with the Soviet Union.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's even the federal government power. The federal government's main job is the military and police and defense. But not giving them power that's not commensurate with what the founders wanted. I don't think. That's just my opinion. I understand that I'm not really an LDO.
All right, yeah.
I would say that you can't label them as a terror organization. I just opened the file of the GBM. As far as how we deal with them, I think the most logical step would be to label them a criminal organization, so such as mafia,
Right.
and then we can target specifically and if we can't target the leadership of individual cells and charge them all as those here.
Makes sense. You had something?
Yeah, I was just gonna go off of what you guys were saying about government having like the rights to survey and all. Like, the Patriots Act still exists, so
Mhm.
the government still has the right, according to that, to see what citizens are doing.
True.
They can survey if criminal activity is going on, there's terrorists, whatever.
So I guess it's like Antifa can't be like designated specifically, but we can do it individually with
Yeah.
each case. Okay,
I
yeah.
agree with that. Like, we should
Yeah.
charge people for the crimes they commit. We don't need to like
Group them
run. We
together.
don't need to let a genie out of the bottle.
Right.
As long as the government's actually enforcing anti-violence laws, then you should be able to every member up with one fell swoop without having to designate anything.
Yep. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good.
And it should be at the state level. I don't trust the federal government.
Yeah, so when we were right after George Floyd's death, so like with all the riots and the insurrection going on, Trump was getting pressured by a lot of people to, he had the option to use the Insurrection Act. And so it might seem like a good idea in the moment, but as conservatives, we have to be rational. You have to be rational and like, we have to think for the future. I think a lot of liberals just do short-term solutions. If Trump were to do the Insurrection Act, he would be able to just squash any insurrection for sure. But I think it would set a dangerous precedent of realizing of conservatives versus fear, which is if he used the Insurrection Act, the federal government is like, it'd be like my way or the highway. You cannot, they would just take so much power. If you disagree with them, you're going to jail. It would turn them into this big government that conservatives really fear. So yeah, as conservatives, that's our worst fear is a big government. And so that's why Trump didn't use it. It's pretty interesting. I know it's in the moment when you see your country burning, you might want to just, you be reactionary and you give yourself a lot of power, but it's in a way I respect the decision. So on October 3rd, we're going to be going to Jacksonville Beach. We're going to have a beach trip with our chapter, the FSU chapter, and the UNF chapter. So it's going to be huge. So if you're interested, let me know, and carpools are being arranged. Just a show of hands, who's interested? Very awesome. Okay. No. All right, so just see us too after. Yeah, this is what is it, Saturday? 2 Saturdays?
It's Saturday.
Okay. So see us after, and so here's our social medias, our social media accounts. There you go. So you can just scan that if you want. I think the Facebook one's not working. I have to get the code expired. But the Venmo and the Instagram work. You can just go on Facebook and Turning Point USA at UF. You just type them in manually.
Of course, you're handling the money for it. Your Venmo's working.
Of course, priorities. All right, awesome. Well, thank you all for coming. Let's all go on the front and take a picture for our Instagram.